What made you say 2 days, let's come back, versus staying all remote or being in office all the time?
One of the things that goes missing is the understanding of all the pieces in this logistical dance that we're putting together for our clients. You're sitting next to someone in accounting, you make this decision, that means this person is going to have a really bad day. You didn't know that before because you've never seen them, and just creating a space where people can see they are part of a team. What they do matters, and It matters from the bottom up.
Hey guys, Damien Stevens, host of MSP Mindset, founder and CEO of Servacity. Today, I continue my mission to interview 100 of the fastest growing and most interesting MSPs on the planet. Today, I am very blessed to be joined by Hank Dallam, who's the CEO of NetGain Technologies. Now, what's interesting to me about Hank is he hired a managed service provider when he was running a non-MSP. And that led him to applying over LinkedIn to become the CEO of an MSP that is ultimately part of one of the largest MSPs in the world. So if you'd like to learn his interesting story, more about private equity and how it might be a better fit than you thought, and how he has an amazing culture that is both decentralized but still hands-on, there's something in this for everyone. Don't miss out on my conversation with Hank today. Hank, I think this is interesting. I wanted to start off with what I'm seeing is a growing trend. You kind of said initially you're maybe not a tech guy. So tell me what that means from your perspective.
Definitely come from a different background. Like I said, it's not IT focused. It's very eclectic is a nice way to say it.
Sure.
But started off working for a Kentucky congressman in DC, which is where I met my wife, actually. And nice. Then worked in renewable energy at the U.S. Department of Energy, commercializing clean tech, so wind, solar, geothermal, things like that. Always had an itch to serve, so joined the Army a little bit later than most, but became an infantry officer, served for 4 years, and got out of the military. Married my wife, moved to Texas, joined the dark side of energy. I joined an oil and gas company in San Antonio. And while I was working there, went to grad school to really fill in the financial, holes in my skill set that I knew I had. So did that, graduated, and then started a small PE-backed search fund. Basically, you have a cap table of private equity folks, and your job is to find a business to buy, operate it, grow it, with the intent of making it better and selling it. So we moved from San Antonio to Nashville to get closer to home so we could find a business to buy. And the business we found and bought and acquired was back in San Antonio. So at least we still had our dentists and all of that stuff there. But so we moved back to San Antonio, ran that for about 3 years, and then sold it. Wanted to move to a place that's closer to home, and a place that my wife wouldn't have to take a 4th bar exam from following me around too much.
Oh wow!
So found the job on LinkedIn, and it's my foray into the IT space.
So what was the business? What kind of business was it that you bought?
It was a on-site service business for mostly oil and gas companies. So think 200-mile pipelines. We operated in 5 different states. So I know it's super sexy with everything from portable restrooms to trash, clean water, all the things, ice, things like that you would need to service those very long projects in a very harsh environment.
Interesting. So you formed a private equity group search fund, and was the model to buy a single company and operate it and have a return, or was it to buy multiple?
It was to buy a single one.
Okay. And is that where you kind of found managed services?
Yeah, really. We, so two little side stories here, but yeah, we were a company of about 30, about a $10 million company in revenue. And we needed IT help. And so we outsourced an MSP. And I definitely know what it's like to be on the client side of it, and the good, bad, and otherwise that a lot of people have, the experiences they have in working with us. And then also just second side piece was we actually were breached. And so I also know what it's like to basically jump through your rear end to get all the systems back and invoice and keep payroll going and all that. So that was 2 weeks of something I definitely would not wish on my worst enemy, but got an idea of just how important it is. And basically, like I said, we weren't a big company, 30 people, but those are the targets now. So
that kind of leads me to, how does it feel? And correct me if I'm wrong, if you've been there coming up on close to
almost 3 years.
3 years. Yet, if I understand, you have some employees with somewhere near 30, 37 years. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel to walk into such a kind of mature company?
It's got its pluses and minuses for sure. So we've been around for a little over 40 years. And so started as a VAR, made the progression. I'm sure you know similar stories, but Evergreen bought NetGain about 7 years ago. And so walking in, you see different decades of thought, and I wouldn't say bad habits, but issues that, what was important to someone in 1990, like someone stuck in 1990, someone stuck in 2010, someone's, stuck wherever they are in that very large span in a rapidly changing organization. So we've got salespeople that have been there 30 something years, and they like to do things a certain way, which makes it challenging. And so just understanding where we were took basically my entire first year. So the goal was to understand where we are, build a platform that we can scale with. We have 1,000 tools and just as many thoughts and opinions on what works and what doesn't. And
sure.
Some are right, some are way wrong. But trying to get everyone on board to, hey, it's not sales versus engineers, first off. It's not, this is my client. This is a NetGain. Like, this relationship is with NetGain. We are one team, one fight. I say it 7 times a week. And so because it's such a, I guess, dynamic and complex organization, we don't all work together and row together, then we're just creating a whole lot more problems that we don't need. And so trying to get the different mindsets of, well, I came from this acquisition, or I came from this sales era of, this is how our pay back then was, the whole hunter farmer transition, things like that. So trying to get us all to be one NetGain has been the focus, and then having that platform to scale with from a tool perspective, tech stack perspective, and then just overall external communication piece, just tying all of that together and having all of these pieces mutually reinforce each other is really starting to kick in, especially with us doubling down on the client success piece.
So what is, I think people miss this, whether they're doing an acquisition or joining a bigger organization, or sometimes just when you scale, and you're not used to. I think there's certain points you look back and you go, "Oh, I can't sit down and have a conversation with every person." And there might be a point where you scale that you don't even know every person. So that year, I think a lot of people underestimate to figure out what's really going on, what decisions we're making and not making, alignment. I'm curious, like, what was the biggest lesson learned there that you could share with others? Because I think sometimes we miss a lot of the.
Yeah,
and I think that's the stuff that sometimes can be. It's not the cool marketing slogan. It's just the core things that have to be done that will really destroy your business if you don't. Maybe they don't sound cool.
And I think it's difficult because if you are growing so quickly, that inflection point or decision to look back and see what you've normally passed the chance to get ahead of some of that. And so where we are and where we're trying to get past, like, we can stay a $30 million company all day long. But there are certain levels at the 3 million, the 10 million, the 30 million, and breaking past that is the goal. And like you said, you can't do it by yourself. Like, you're not the expert. You may know everything because you've been doing it forever, and you need to start looking and relying on your leadership teams to delegate. Like, I don't know everything about each ELT member's job, and I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I know what operations does. I know what HR does. I know what marketing does. And they all do it really well, and they're all experts in that field. So I need them to own that. Kind of my approach is to give commanders intent. That's what we called it in the Army, because you can't plan for everything. But having them own their part of the P&L, having them make employee decisions, and obviously I'm never far away and help with. I help poke holes because I ask really stupid questions, a lot of them, and so they may not like that a lot, but yeah, asking a lot of questions, but just working with their team and hiring for that. Like, I'm not hiring for a CFO for 30 mil for where we are. I'm hiring one for where we want to get to. Mm-hmm. And that's been very helpful. We've had a few key ELT hires where, yep, they were more expensive, but there's a reason why they're more expensive, and they're taking the monkey, and running with it. And that frees up a lot of time for me to do all the things that I'm supposed to be doing.
Hey guys, Damien here. As I continue to interview the top MSPs in the world, one thing has become incredibly clear. It's time that we let go. Even more than that, every time I focus on my zone of genius and get out of the way and do the very few things I'm good at and delegate to others, I'm ready for that next level of growth. So if you're ready for that next level of growth, one way that I could help you is with Servosity. We co-manage your backups and disaster recovery so you can focus on what you do best, let us do the rest, and then what we do is we test the backups every single day so you never have to worry. If you'd like to learn more, click the link below. I think it's really easy to miss that. So I think you're saying that, like, you're hiring for your enterprise leadership team, but the mistake is hire for people that have done 30 million. Are you looking for the person that can do 31 million? Are you looking for the person that can do 50 million? I'm kind of curious, like, as you go to hire right now, because sure. Like you said, if I understand, you're not hiring the guy for the role you're kind of using the Gretzky quote, you're kind of skating to where the puck will be. So I'm curious, what do you find is the right level?
Double it.
Okay.
Good rule of thumb.
Yeah. And what's your, obviously nobody knows the real answer, but how long do you think it'll take you to get to double?
Lyra would love if I did it next year.
Sure.
But I mean, we try to grow 15 to 20% year over year. Doubling it will take time, but if we're figuring out the little things that actually move the needle and execute them well, it's the little things done really well over time that help build the repetitions. And that's why the Rangers are so good at what they do. They focus on executing the little things really, really, really well.
What's been a challenge that you've seen going from, if I understand you were leading a team that wasn't an MSP of 30, and now you lead an MSP that's currently 110 employees. It's a pretty big change in leadership teams and size.
I would kind of argue and say that they're also very similar. I mean, a 5-person shop, but we were like I said, we were a 30-person team, but we were spread out over 5 states, from Louisiana to North Dakota. Long way up there. It's really cold, but that's where the pipelines are being built. So, that was a decentralized environment, just like we have now. We're from Little Rock up to Louisville and Cincinnati, and St. Louis is over to the west. But I mean, we have similar challenges, and having people in those places that you can trust, and that can execute, elevate issues in a timely manner, so it's not threat level midnight by the time it hits my inbox. It's having the right people that you can trust and delegate to. So, I mean, there are more people that I have to deal with, but I still had operations, I still had HR, still had finance, mainly just less like engineering staff.
So is this 5 or 6 offices where almost everybody works in office, or is this a lot of remote staff?
A lot of it's remote.
Okay.
So when I first started, there was a physical office in basically all of them. And so that was a big kind of org shift. So we have employees that are there. We have office space there if we need it. But for the most part, only a few of them have physical offices. As I understand, this was pre-me, but during COVID, everyone kind of just scurried. And so we were very decentralized by the time I got here. About a year and a half ago, I brought the local Lexington office in 2 days a week. So Tuesdays, Wednesdays, try to get folks in office. This is a life lesson for me, but I sent the back to office email the night that our ENPS survey went out. So that's cool. Won't be doing that again, but yeah, just lesson learned there. But it's received well. It doesn't please everybody, but we have try to make it so we're reasonable. Work-life balance is huge. We're all doing this for a reason. We all have families. We all have things to do. I get it. We have an open PTO policy that we encourage responsible use of, just so we can plan around it. But it seems to be working. You have to make sure you have the right people to be able, in the organization, to be able to have that trust and that delegation. I don't know.
That's huge. I feel like a lot of companies that started with a flexible or open PTO policy, they throw that out somewhere along the lines before they get to the scale that you are.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to put that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah.
It's easier if you have one office, like the majority of them do.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps. But
what made you say 2 days, let's come back, versus staying all remote or being in office all the time? Or
I'm a people person. I feel like no one anymore picks up the phone when they need something, and it drives me nuts. I did just turn 40, so maybe that's something. But you can get a whole lot more done, in my opinion, if you have that interaction. I feel like it's very important. When people do come into the office, you can see it. You can feel the energy in it, and we get good feedback from it. And you can what goes missing. One of the things that goes missing is the understanding of all the pieces in this logistical dance that we're putting together for our clients. Upstream, downstream effects of each person's role in the chain of anything we do for them. So, I mean, that's been something we've been pushing. If you're sitting next to someone in accounting and you make this decision, that means this person is going to have a really bad day. You didn't know that before because you've never seen them, and just creating a space where people can see they are part of a team. What they do matters, and it matters from the bottom up.
Yeah, I found everybody scattered with COVID, but a lot of MSPs have come back to in-office. And I think that there's some advantages to being remote. We are. But there's some big challenges culture-wise to doing that versus, everybody's in the office 5 days. What have you learned about managing so many people across such a decentralized, area and time zones even?
So we brought on a new HR leader, new director of human resources, at the beginning of beginning of December of last year. So her big push this quarter, and you can see it in our ENPS numbers. We do a lot of surveys, and I actually read them all. And so you hear from the feedback, but she's tried to create regular touch points with them. 2 weeks ago, she did a Harry Potter scavenger hunt, which who wouldn't want that? It came with your own wand, and everyone was kind of working as teams going around the office. We have a really large office, and so things like that. She was pushing around a tray of butterbeer and serving butterbeer to the team. For Easter, we had a office-wide Easter egg hunt. So the night before, they came and hit about 300 Easter eggs. But just trying to get creative with fun things that we can work together on and see each other more. And so whether it's community service events or just fun things, she stocked the fridge with all the requests. That was something that was brought up. And so now we've got a fully stocked fridge, and just little things like that make it enjoyable for people to want to come into the office and then kind of get something out of it as well. So it's work, but she's methodical with the timing and the scheduling, and so it's becoming more of a regular thing. But that's helped. But I mean, you'll have some employees that will give you a 0 and say, I have to come in 1 day a week or 2 days a week or whatever. And okay, but may not be the right person for the bus anyway.
Yeah. Well, if I understand, that's at one office, right? So but you have so many states, right? So how I think a lot of the struggles, how do I do culture across different states? It's much harder to share butterbeer when you're 500 miles away or whatever that is.
Yeah, it is. we also plan it around. So Louisville, Cincinnati, right up the street from us, an hour away from Lexington. So they come in, those teams come in often. Don't have them coming in for the 2 days. That's just silly and not practical.
Mm-hmm.
But they come in a lot for all the events. And then we have client appreciation events and all the locations each quarter, half quarter, depending on where it is, what the event is. We're in the middle of it now. So the team was in Columbus, Ohio, and then Oak Lawn and Hot Springs near Little Rock for a horse race there. And then we're at Churchill Downs last week, about horsed out. Then we have Keeneland coming up. So we have a lot of touch points with client events, and we have employee engagement events. So we try to, time those things together as realistically as possible, or any trainings. So if PAX 8 is putting on some training for us, Microsoft training or something that the engineering team or sales team would need to fly in for, we could do it then too.
I gotcha.
So it's expensive to move all those pieces around, and then you've got the opportunity cost of them not working on a project. So have to be strategic, but try to time them well.
Yeah. I think sometimes remote, and I think you never come in, you never meet the team. And that sounds like that's not the case here.
Yeah, it's not. So we're still at a size where I know all the employees. I meet with every new hire after 3 months after the hose has been turned off a little bit. And those are my favorite meetings because it's a lot to take in. Just finding things on a SharePoint site. Been here 3 years and I still can't find stuff. But so I know it's a lot to take in. The way we do it is different than how other people do it. And so I usually give them about 3 months and then sit down with each of them and have good dialogue about what's dumb and what's not dumb. And they would know. So having that fresh set of eyes, not the person that's been there for 37 years, it is helpful.
Yeah. So why is that? I'm curious, why is that one of your favorite meetings?
You never know what they're going to say. I always try to preface it like it's a very casual conversation. I'm a dude. You're a dude. Like, I just want to get to know you and what the onboarding process was like, how we can get better. What issues do you have? Where do you, just the basic things that you'd be able to get really good conversations with people that are seeing it with fresh eyes. And so most of the time they're really open, but sometimes a little too open. but I love that. We can't get better. Can't build a better mousetrap if we don't know what's wrong. And there's plenty of dumb things we do, and I phrase it to them that way. Like I know we do some things very dumb. What's dumb? Start from there. But because we pull from so many different regions and people have so many different backgrounds and experiences and married, not married, goldfish, what have you. It's a very eclectic group that has a whole lot of experience and a lot of knowledge when you combine it all and we know how to fix all our problems. We probably start half of them. But as a team, we know how to fix them. So how do we bubble that up and make it a fun, safe place to utilize that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, everybody that's listening, watching, I think sometimes people go, private equity is evil. They're there to cut jobs. Clearly, you guys are investing in growth. You're worth spending this time and money to bring people together, to invest in your culture. And if I understand the Lyra and Evergreen model, it is to leave the companies intact, not do this hyper consolidation where it all becomes one brand and name.
Right. Yeah. I think it obviously gets a bad name. I think it can be done very well, and what Evergreen's done, and the consolidation of all the MSPs into the same vertical under Elliott Hyman has gone really well. And yes, we have aggressive growth targets, but all businesses should. And there are things that they're having us do that the normal MSP doesn't want to, or I don't know, hasn't put a lot of effort into. Just good, I don't know, financial hygiene, or all of the things that you should be doing as a company, like using HubSpot, just all those things. What is awesome about the sister opcos, and what I don't think many people appreciate, the power of a collective group of 80, I don't know what it's up to now, but 81 MSPs in New Zealand and Australia and Canada and England and all over the US. I mean, that's a very powerful peer group. So it helps not only with vendor negotiations and things like that, but there's someone that has, in that group of people, that definitely has the answer to the question, or did what you keep failing at, and they can help get us up to speed faster. So being able to access that peer group is very, very helpful. And Evergreen and Lyra do a really good job of kind of making sure we're all in the sandbox playing together. So we all get together at certain cadences throughout the year.
I feel like there's so much misperception because, I mean, what is the private part of the equity? Like even the name, private equity, what does that mean? PE backed. I think a lot of people just have, said PE is horrible. And I think any group of people, there's some great ones, some good ones, some bad ones. You built a PE backed search and operated a company. So you have not just you have experience kind of building the fund. You've experience now being a part of the fund. Can you help other MSPs? Because I think, look, I'm not saying you should sell yours to an MSP, to a private equity, but it is a valid one that I think some people dismiss because they go, it's the evil one, it's the dark side, it's, there's a lot of this, instead of just being more grounded and asking good questions. So what should I know as an MSP about the way private equity works? Because you've got a couple lenses, and I think it can be helpful to others.
Yeah, well, it's not all created equal. And the model that Evergreen and Lyra have been rolling with is working very, very well. And if there are many founders that are still active CEOs of their company, and so we're happy to have them go talk to them. Well, go talk to this person. He sold to us 2 years ago. Ask him, because he sold, and he'll give you an honest answer. He has less to worry about now, but go ask him. What did they commit to? And how did they hold up their end of the bargain? And that's the easiest way to do it. It's like, oh yeah, that he just got his earn out. He's been here for 2 years, got his earn out, wants to stay on, wants to take a regional role, or whatever. But we have a lot of data points, a lot of companies, a lot of perspectives. We're just kind of go ask the gift horse.
You're either the best or the worst to ask this question. We'll see, but
edit this out. We'll see.
What's the biggest? What do you think a big misperception is? Because I feel like there's a lot of them in the MSP industry around PE, around private equity, around PE. What I think is interesting is you've built a private equity search group, but now are part of one. So you've been in two different sides of it. From you probably appreciate the funding side and the building the fund and doing this. You probably appreciate the operational aspect of a private equity more than most, and now you're in a different part of it, private equity, and I think for most of us, it's hard to fathom. It's like, I don't know if you guys got together that had a few dollars and is that what that is? Or how does that work? Or, and I just think there's a lot of, misperception around like, what is this and why? And I know that there's different people that operate differently, but I don't know if you see a lot of misperceptions around private equity.
Yeah, I mean, I think internally, and we've been trying to kind of combat this. Like when I first started, there was I guess all the numbers were held very closely to the chest. And so financial performance of the company wasn't something that visibility wasn't something that got passed very far. Like, be lucky if our controller got that information. It was that wow. Tight. So kind of what we did, first you have to educate them on what they don't need to know everything, but they need to know what a limited partner is. They need to know what EBITDA is. They need to know very specific examples in a like shortened. Well, we did NetGain Finance in a nutshell. It was like a training I ran with them, and I showed them the P&L, showed them like the impact of their decisions, what they have control over, and how that impacts the bottom EBITDA, basically. So, situation one, MRR is dropping, and we're not reducing headcount, and the magnitude of not keeping those things consistent has a tremendous effect. And so that's just a small example, but there are several scenarios we ran them through. So kind of like baby stepped them into learning. This is what I like look at on the P&L. This is why it's important. This is where you hit it. And this EBITDA thing that we keep talking about, and this 15% growth target, this is what it is, and this is why we're trying to do it. And so educating them to see it, not just the big bad wolves coming in. It's just good business. A lot of these practices are just good business, but it's not just busy work either. This is your impact to the bottom line. This is your decision. By you making this decision, it impacts the bottom line and this dude over here, this other department. And that's helped them kind of understand what evergreen, just the conversation back and forth. And then the ELT members are up to speed on it. So when they're L10s, they use those platforms to re-educate why this, that, or the other is important. So a lot of things come from top down, and I mean, that's a big part of my job is blocking or delegating. And so them understanding why they're asking for this has helped them, I don't know, not think that they're a big bad wolf, that there's reasons behind this stuff. But yeah, from an internal perspective, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they don't have any idea what it is, and they just see how much revenue we bring in and just think that we've got this giant treasure chest, thinking like Scrooge McDuck and all his coins. But it's like, well, this goes here. We're reinvesting this into marketing efforts that we have seen ROI on in the past 2 quarters. A lot of that stuff they just don't see. So that helps.
Yeah, I think the bigger you get, the easier it is to be disconnected. But also, what struck me is, I remember the first time I shared P&L, very naively, and I was the tech guy that learned the P&L, and even so, I still came in and was like, oh, this, that, and people were like, I don't get it at all. Like, there is something, and I think the average MSP doesn't share the financials as openly as you are describing. Yeah. And I think there's some real education before you just, at least in my experience, before you just go blindly share it.
Yeah, no, the ELT thought for a long time of how to step into that conversation, what needed to be shared, what didn't. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't, but we have financial targets to hit if we're going to grow. which we are, then these things matter. And this is why they matter. And then using any, probably get made fun of at the office, but I like stories. Using any anecdotes or any way to help relate in a simple way what this means and what the impact is. I try to interject in there if I can.
Yeah. So I want to jump back to something you said in the beginning. Like, there's part of you that came from this less, technical background in terms of you didn't build a bar or a MSP, or maybe build your own computers from scratch, or, kind of the more stereotypical story. But you'd been a closet nerd. Is it true that you were an early pilot tester of ChatGPT?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I was all over that one. It was an unhealthy relationship.
Tell me about that.
I saw the value of it very early. Couldn't have predicted how quickly it's reading my kids' bedtime stories, which freaks my wife out, and she uses up all my data. But just the ability to quickly call on a lot of information and help you think through, ideate. Obviously, I don't want our engineers popping code from ChatGPT into their day-to-day work, but I don't know. It's the AI, the automation, all of that is, and the way you can link all of these different pieces together. You have to do it carefully and thoughtfully. And that's kind of the next challenge, I think, for rolling this out widespread for clients. But yeah, I mean, I think I have every gaming system from the first Nintendo to the Oculus. So I got Duck Hunt, still works.
Duck Hunt on Oculus would be really fun.
Didn't think about that. But just you kind of have to stay with it. It's moving so quickly that if you don't stay with it, you're going to get left.
So tell me about I'm curious, what do you mean by the unhealthy relationship with it early on?
I was just using a lot and taking up time and basically telling her, like, hey, guess what I did? I did this. And I don't know. She's an attorney, so I used it to help her in one of her cases. She was terrified of what was spit out. It's getting so good that it's hard to, or it's easy to kind of be scared of it. But if you don't understand it or use it wrong, then it could be a scarier place.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about AI right now?
I would say we all need to get on board quickly. So that takes investment, that takes dollars and time and thoughtful ways to, I don't know, you have to know how you want to use it. Right now, I mean, even internally, the way everything ties together, it's not ready for full-time rollout to a client. But we can start off with just basically simple system overviews and checklists and just that consulting piece of, hey, this is the potential to do this, that it can do for you. Based off of our analysis, you have this gap, this gap, this gap, this gap. All of those tie into sales opportunities that they should be doing anyway. But just helping them understand how it's going to impact their business from a structural perspective. And then that kind of opens the conversation to, I don't know, it gets the wheels moving in their head about what can be done.
Interesting. So I'm kind of curious in the psychological aspect, and how do you equip your team, and what do you do? And I'm curious, do you have a small skunkworks team that's kind of figuring things out, or are you pushing this out and saying everybody experiment and everybody use this, or like something else?
Yeah, we have definitely not pushed out to everyone. But we have a small internal team that's using it, figuring it out, building ticket triage integrations to it. And so it's a small but, I guess, intellectually mighty team that's trying to figure out opportunities internally and then plans externally. So we have a tech committee, and we have mostly engineering, but there's someone from all over, representative from all parts, and that rotates on a rotating schedule. And so that's how, one of the ways that we help vet a lot of this. So we're actually piloting Thread now. We did it internally, and it worked really, really well for like ticket triage and chat help desk integration. And then we're piloting it now with one of our larger clients down in Little Rock, and evaluating it. That's going really, really well. So, we try to A/B test, see what people like and what people don't. And there's no perfect way.
Sure.
But I'd like to not break the house before I peel off the wallpaper.
Do you think the big opportunity now is internally or client facing and helping them, or something else?
I mean, I feel like they need to be concurrent right now. Like, if you're not running them in parallel paths, then, like I said, it's very dynamic. It's very fast. You have to stay ahead of it. Internally, it's us figuring it out, and just figuring out what happens when I plug this cord in. Externally, it's more, hey, we're doing this internally. We've had some trials that we've run with similar verticals, whether it's healthcare or manufacturing or whatever, and they seem to be doing really, really well. So this could be an opportunity down the road. So it's incorporating that into their QBRs and their annual planning, just keeping that conversation just moving forward.
As somebody that was really early at the pilot of ChatGPT, what do you feel like other MSPs or even other businesses are missing?
I think the way it can integrate, if you can have people that can help on the back end integrate, you got to train it. You have to have data to train it. We're bigger MSPs, so we have more data than we know what to do with. But I mean, our time to triage a ticket after a few iterations of us just doing it ourselves went from about 12 minutes a ticket to, I think, 12 seconds.
Wow.
So you have to go in there, you have to tweak things, and you have to keep the model updated. But the way it can integrate with ConnectWise and all the other thousands of tools, the tools that are coming out now, and the updates for them they all have integrations with any one of those Gen AI platforms.
Interesting. So what do you think this will do to, managed services industry? Like, what do you see the impact as far as from your perspective?
I mean, for us, it's proposition to our clients is kind of simple. Like, we're here to help our clients grow, help them become efficient, help them reduce risk. It's our job to help them understand the decisions they're making before they have to think about it. Obviously, keep them updated with the security threat landscape. But it can make us more accurate. It can help the client faster. The client experience can improve dramatically. And we're in the customer success business. And so as long as you don't have one of those annoying chat bots or you're sitting on hold forever, they're getting pretty good actually nowadays. But it's going to help us become more efficient, have a better customer interaction. And those are the big things. There's so much. It may be documented. This process might be documented, but it's 8 pages long, like most engineers like to write. Is that something we should automate? And so it'll help there.
Have you seen a lot of pushback internally, or challenges with what happens is to me if we automate this piece or take away that part?
Yeah, we have, and we try to be as thoughtful about messaging as possible. We do our homework with our sister companies that how did this roll out? Like, I said this in a meeting and someone brought a knife to the next one. Don't say this. Exaggeration. But yeah, like trying to get lessons learned, trying to really think about that messaging ahead of time, having the ELT all speaking the same language when we get out of our L10s about it, the impact of it, that helps. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult to have that conversation, but the more you have it, the more direct you are about it. That I feel like it's easier. It's being vague just makes they're all very, very smart. They're very much smarter than I am, which is not difficult to do, but the bar's not set very high. But they're all very smart people. They're adults, and speaking to them like an adult, and showing where we see how this can help them and help the client, and let them do more work that we hired their big brains to do. Takes more than one conversation, for that to start sinking in. But
let me switch gears. Ask you, what's the biggest lesson you've learned in your years in business and especially running an MSP?
Learned a lot of lessons the hard way. One thing that I could, if I could do over again, about 1.5 years ago, we aggressively moved to basically double down on our client success team, and just kind of rebuilt it from the bottom up. We discovered a lot of things that we didn't know before. We weren't doing QPRs. We weren't doing annual planning. We weren't doing the things that we should be doing, the simple things we should be doing, right, to our earlier conversation. And so we put a lot of time, resource, dollars into having the best client experience possible. And what we're really starting to see the fruits of those labors. Client experience is paramount to us. And so I don't think it's just the right thing to do. It's good business. Having worn the shoe on the other foot, but we won't get it right every time, but we try our damnedest to, and if we don't, then we make it right. But waiting 1.5 years to start that was probably just, that would be my do-over, because every day that we didn't start down that path was a missed opportunity. And those compound in the kind of a snowball effect. And so our churn's gone down so much. 2 years ago, our churn rate was just insane. And so it's helped with a lot of different things. It helps the clients plan, helps them financially budget. It keeps us in front of them, and just helps everybody, helps us in planning and just doing the good things, getting ahead of fires before it's threat level midnight. And I get sent the last thread of a 45 thread email chain. And by then it's too late to do anything. Now I'm just having a conversation with a very angry client that's already put his papers in. Mm-hmm. And so that's not doing that day one. And we had internal issues with that, ruffled some feathers a little bit, So we kind of took our AEs used to hold that client relationship. And so we pulled that in to the client success team, which is a team of support people. So the sales folks can focus on selling. So when you have people that have been selling a certain way for a long time, they feel like they own that. And I totally get that. But we ruffled some feathers initially, but I think we're kind of coming out on the other end and seeing a lot of wins that are quantifiable, shareable, inside and outside of the org.
So I think this is something I know I struggle with. I think others do. And you mentioned customer success is kind of a supportive role or a support team. I'm curious, did you improve what CS was? Did you already have CS? And I'm also curious because you could go get the typical salespeople, closer, AE type role. You could get technical people. Maybe you're looking for people that have actually been in customer success. I'm curious what was the right fit for you guys.
It's a little mix of, right now the team's kind of a mix of both. The director we brought in, I wanted someone understood the importance and has lived the CS life from the outside. And it's really nice to have someone on that team that does have help desk experience. We have one really good client success manager who was a service delivery manager. So he ran a team of help desk people. So he can talk the talk, but can also talk to humans. So you need empathy. You need to, I see client success as sitting in the catbird seat between operations, sales, and the client. So they're the infinity sign or whatever, but they should all, like I said, mutually reinforce each other, but they should also have very focused swim lanes. Yeah, I mean, they may not know all the answers, but they know where to get them. They do pick up the technical piece. Having people with technical backgrounds is helpful. It's just hard to find. It's hard to find the personality and the engineering mindset single person.
Since you're kind of rebuilding that, what were your initial outcomes that you said, this is what success looks like? Because when you're more mature, you could say, best in class churn and measure that a certain way, or your NPS or CSAT, and maybe you do those things. I'm just curious, what were the initial, when you first set it up, initial identifiers of this is a successful outcome?
Sure. So reduce churn is key. And, like I said, we've had numbers for years. We can track a lot of different things, but the CSAT scores we do, and highly focus on that. And then really during the rebuild, it's this is the percent QBRs completed. You're supposed to do 81 this quarter. How many did you do? And so using those should be on the calendar touch points with clients as we were at 5%, and now we're here. That's been helpful. Like I said, we have a very good pulse on churn, and we also track, and anyone in the company can go into this part of our SharePoint site, and it's basically a at-risk tracker. People don't think that they're client-facing, but don't realize that pretty much everyone is at one point, some more than others. And so if someone's on a call and gets a funny feeling or catches something that was said or alluded to or just whatever, then we encourage them to go and fill this out, and it's pretty awesome. So we have the at-risks, the ones that have churned, and then we have the ones that are saved. So we always want to make sure that those are those are highly visible, the saves, and just how much MRR it was. And then, a blurb to the right. This was an acquisition. This was not our fault. We totally screwed the pooch on this migration, like real bad. I don't blame them for churning. And so we try to learn from our mistakes, but that's open to the whole company. That helps us keep a pulse on it.
I love that candor. We screwed this up. And
it might be different words used in the office, but it gets the point across.
Yeah. Given all that you've got going on and just all the things in the world that are going on, like what's something you're looking forward to?
I mean, I think the growing TAM, the target addressable market, is looking solid. So that's exciting for us. I think the CAGR 12 or 13% by the end of the decade. So we're a growing industry. The growing need for security offerings is an unfortunate thing, but the landscape isn't shrinking. And so building out that is something that we've been positioning ourselves very well for over the last several years. And then also, like I said, in our wheelhouse is just the regulatory and compliance side of it. That's coming down the pipe fast. And when it does, the CMMC and GDPR and HIPAA and all the other acronyms. I thought the Army had a lot of acronyms, but y'all people have a lot more acronyms. But anyway, so being able to have the right teams built out, the right service offerings built out for not today, but for what's coming down. Is something that's exciting to me because it's there, and whoever jumps on it first is going to have a big leg up for sure.
Yeah, I love that. What's your biggest challenge currently?
I mean, personally, I would say family time. We're trying to build a culture. Like I said, we have open PTO. We're trying to build a culture that wants to come to work and wants to be here. I think finding the right balance between it's very difficult in an industry that never sleeps. And so I've been encouraging the team to make sure you take time for your family when they're on vacation. Please don't call them. You absolutely can't. It's harder for the ELT and the director levels, but just balancing work-life balance when this crazy world just keeps on getting more aggressively crazy.
Yeah. The pace is not slowing.
No.
What's the number one book you'd recommend?
Sent that question. I had a hard time thinking about it. There are a bunch of good ones. I listened to some of your podcasts prior to this, and some good things were tossed out. So I'm going to be weird and pick something different. But A Pirate Looks at 40 by Jimmy Buffett is a good one.
Say that again?
It's A Pirate Looks at 40 by Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
And so, Jimmy Buffett built an empire using authenticity as a strategy, and he built the brand through storytelling, which is kind of what we're doing here. And his very non-linear success story, in many ways, mirrors the entrepreneurial journey, in my opinion. So there's a lot of different ways to go about being successful and making things happen. And if you can do it by being yourself, and I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Here he's got a nice margarita bill to go to there.
He's got one of everything.
Oh, that is a really cool recommendation in a book I'm not familiar with. So I'll definitely check that out. For everybody that's loved this like I have and listening and watching, if you're open to it, can they find you and connect with you, and how so?
Sure. I mean, I would first start with the website, netgainit.com. The marketing team does a really fantastic job here. So regular updates, free content, industry webinars, and white papers and case studies on things like what questions should I be asking my next MSP? And we've got answers to them for you. Like we throw it all out there. But we also have a great leadership podcast called Breaching the Boardroom, which it's not just MSP focused. It's really just industry leaders. Some of it touches the IT space and some of it doesn't. But we launched that this year. And I guess personally, just LinkedIn would be the best.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, whether it's their podcast or the marketing or even reaching out to Hank individually, make sure to take that tremendous opportunity. I've learned a ton of things. I feel like I could have spent the whole afternoon with you if time permitting. So I appreciate you showing up with your time and energy today, Hank. And thank you so much for being on MSP Mindset.
Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.